I'm very happy and very privileged and very honored to have here today Dr. Patrick Maxwell. For you, everybody knows him because this interview is for plastic surgeons mainly, but Pat Maxwell is probably the biggest plastic surgeon in terms of breast surgery and breast implants in the world. He's probably written everything. He's the father of modern implants. And Pat, it's such an honor to have you in Israel, and thank you for coming and giving us your time.
One, thank you for the invitation. A pleasure to be here. I was in Jerusalem 25 years ago. My first time to Tel Aviv, and the energy of the city, the enthusiasm, it's pretty impressive. I really am enjoying it, and thank you for letting me chat with you.
So this is the second time?
Second time to the country, first time to Tel Aviv.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So I hope you're enjoying Tel Aviv.
Very much. Very much.
Perfect. Tell, if our residents are watching you, where do you practice plastic surgery today?
Yes. I live in Nashville, Tennessee, in the USA. Nashville, Music City,
Music
USA.
City, country city.
Yes.
The country.
Known for its music, but also
good food.
A center of healthcare.
Okay.
Private pay healthcare was initiated in Nashville, Tennessee. Healthcare industry is one of the biggest industries in Nashville besides music. So healthcare, the business of health impermeates the city along with energy, enthusiasm, because it's a vibrant, fast-growing city today.
Kaiser Permanente came from Nashville, or?
No. Kaiser Permanente would be sort of what Nashville developed alternatives in self-care pay, self-pay healthcare, that then was adapted to insurance alternatives and then combined with insurance, a better way to deliver health care than the government, for example. Applying business principles to the delivery of health care to do it in a more efficient way that private enterprise could determine the business side rather than government or insurance companies.
So we all know Pat Maxwell, the legend, but where did you do your residency in plastic surgery?
At the Johns Hopkins Hospital, Baltimore.
B-more. Okay, and where did you do your fellowship?
Well, but Johns Hopkins first is, it was the first established hospital and medical training guide in the United States. It was the origin of contemporary teaching, and it was also the home of Halsted, Sir William Halsted, who performed the first radical mastectomy.
For sure.
So a lot of history was there when I went there. I didn't go there for that reason, but a lot of that was important in my journey.
Yeah, I think they based the guy in the Nick. You see the Nick, the TV issue on Halsted, because he's the father of surgery.
Yes.
And so, how did you become involved in breast aesthetics? Did you started it during your residency, or you did it in your fellowship, or during the years?
Well, first I grew up as a child artist. I was a childhood artist, and then in college I studied architecture.
Really?
Yes. So while studying architecture in university, I decided I wanted to do something more creative. Architecture had too much engineering and structure.
Yeah.
I wanted something artistic that maybe I could do in life. And out of the blue, the plastic surgery came to my mind. I did not know what it was. Back then, it was not on television.
Yeah.
It was just something that sounded like you were making something in the face. But I then researched it and decided I will go to medical school. I will be a doctor in order to be a plastic surgeon.
That's amazing.
Because of my interest in art and creativity and form.
And how did you become so synonymous with implants? Because you're kind of the father of the modern implant, so to speak.
Well, interestingly, when I went to Hopkins as an intern, they were still doing radical mastectomies, 1972.
Yeah.
And I took care of the women that would wake up with a missing soft tissue in just their rib cage and a wound. And that had such an impact on me, emotionally seeing them, that I decided I will devote my energy toward attempting to help these women and creatively create a new breast form. And that led me to an interest in tissue transfer, and microsurgery was just coming along.
Okay.
And I asked to go do a fellowship with the father of microsurgery, Harry Bunke. So I left my residency, traveled to California, and learned how to sew little vessels together in the rat. So I was a pioneer microsurgeon. And when I returned to general surgery, the musculocutaneous flaps were just being described by John McCraw.
Okay.
So I traveled to John McCraw in Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia, to see what a musculocutaneous flap was. And I saw him dissecting the thoracodorsal artery to do a latissimus flap as a rotation on the back. I saw the big thoracodorsal vessel and said, aha, an aha moment. That can be transferred microsurgically. And so I did the world's first latissimus dorsi free flap as a resident.
For the breast?
No, because first I was interested, I was coming at it then through the microsurgery, and I transferred it actually to the head.
Wow.
But I learned about the blood supply. And back in those days, the thoracodorsal vessel was cut when they did mastectomies.
The radical mastectomies.
The radical.
Yeah.
So I then studied the blood supply in research in animals and showed even when it was cut, there was retrograde flow that would enable you to use the latissimus flap. Because even though the latissimus flap was being used in breast reconstruction early, it was not being used in many cases because it was thought you couldn't. So my interest in that led me to becoming an expert in how to move that to the front as a resident doing breast reconstruction. So my first interest was flaps and tissue. And then when I heard of Hartramp during the tram, I traveled to visit him, and he was doing tram flaps pedicle from here. We did the world's first low latissimus tram.
Wow.
So big tissue transfers for radical mastectomies. I was happy. I was a surgeon doing flaps, but my patient said, we don't want surgery. We want to be treated with less, minimal surgery. And I thought, that's a breast implant, but they don't work well. We must figure out a better way to do breast reconstruction with smaller operations. That interest in knowing that's what patients wanted led me to evolve actually the first textured expander, shaped expander, anatomical implants, and that all led to really developing the entire series of devices, principles, techniques that we use today.
Speaking of which, kind of the breast implant under you has come a long way, 5 generations. Do you think in 50 years we're still going to see the silicone implant being used as widely as it is today?
Well, first of all, silicone is used today because that was a new technology developed in the 1950s for space travel.
Yeah.
That was the new technology of the time in terms of material. It's been used ever since because no material has ever been discovered that is safer when put in the body for any use.
I know. Yeah.
So first, there must be a discovery in technology of an alternative material that will, one, work as well and be guaranteed to be safer. So 50 years, of course, there will probably be, like some minimal capsule that can be put in of some material that can be self-designed, self-shaped, and minimally can do the things we want with guaranteed safety.
Interesting.
Documentation, right?
Interesting.
Documentation of safety.
So the demise of the silicone implant in the future, it will happen probably eventually.
Well, I didn't say demise. I said basically evolution of something that as an alternative can be better.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
okay.
So let's say replacement, not demise.
I agree.
Demise could mean it negatively is withdrawn, like the U.S. just badly withdrew from Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Badly. The ultimate evolution, if we move away from silicone to something else, should be carefully done and in a way that is considerate to patients who have those implants at the time. Yeah.
So you have a passion for medical education, not only going around the world and giving your expertise to plastic surgeons around the world, but also You had some very notable fellows during the day. We had one of them, Brad
Calabrese.
Calabrese, and also the guy from Rapid Falls, Dennis Hammond.
Yes.
How were they as fellows?
Yeah, so I was, I had an enthusiasm and awareness just for making things better. You know, as they say, everyone has eyes, but not everyone sees. So I was always had an awareness, a curiosity, not because I was trying, but just seeing problems and wanting to think, how can we do them better? And so I traveled to, as I said earlier, where it was being done to learn. I had this passion for learning, and my enthusiasm about talking about what I was doing made me an educator, a teacher. I wasn't trying to teach.
You were just passionate about it.
I was passionate about it, and that passion was picked up by others around me, and I realized that besides residents learning plastic surgery, those that really wanted to specialize in the things I was doing, they were especially interested and therefore passionate as well. So my passion, enthusiasm, technical application was picked up by them because they were part of it. They were contributing at the same time.
Yeah.
So someone said, how did you teach Dennis Hammond or Brad Calabrese? I said, I just got out of the way and let them move on themselves.
Yeah, Brad said you believed in him even when he wasn't believing in himself.
Totally.
And you empower people, so that's great.
Yeah, and you know, and in everyone, you know, there's that future, that creativity within them. That who's aware of it? What's important is they themselves are. So everyone has that, and if we just, you know, if we have it, as we all do, and then we experience it, and we share it, then everyone picks it up and takes it. Those two took it to the highest level.
I agree. So what is the array of plastic surgery that you perform day to day, kind of your bread and butter?
Yeah.
Only with breast or everything else?
No, everything. I mean, from the beginning, I was interested in the breast cancer patient.
Okay.
So I'm a pioneer in the evolution of breast cancer treatment and reconstruction, and especially part of that, an important part, was involving the general surgeon, the breast surgeon, to be part of the team. Not they remove the cancer, create the defect, and we come in and see what's left. They become part of the team. Their enthusiasm for treating the cancer, but also for preserving the femininity and form of the patient. And today there are even, you know, many female breast surgeons, oncologic breast surgeons, and plastic surgeons. So that is all involved in a beautiful, wonderful way for mankind. But I got into this through my interest in art and form, and I've always enjoyed form, facial form. So I've always been interested in aesthetics, facial aesthetics.
Facelifts.
And so I do a lot of facelifts, but I don't write and publish on that because most of my publication has been so involved in breast work.
Breast, yes, exactly.
And then as I've taught others and they've learned themselves to do breast reconstruction, and my interest in implants, I became very interested more interested perhaps in performing aesthetic breast surgery, but seeing the complications that would come in aesthetic revisions, because the revisions were caused by problems, and the problems are what led me to create better devices, but then I also learned how to solve the problems.
Secondary cases, tertiary cases.
So that took me to my interest and awareness of regenerative materials, stem cells and fat. I got in the evolution, design, patents on those products, those materials. So if you put them all together, cohesive gel devices, regenerative matrices, ADMs, mesh, fat, stem cells, together that creates the bioengineered breast we described and published. And the combination of those enable better breast reconstructions, better aesthetic breasts, and then fix or resolve problems others have had in the past from former techniques. So it all grows and is part of the big picture.
Yeah, part of the big picture of plastic surgery.
Yeah. I mean, how fortunate are we?
We are.
You and I
am.
Everyone here to, do every day something that is, it's a joy. It's a great energy, a passion. I've never had a job. It's like, how can I be so fortunate?
Yeah, to work in your hobby.
Totally. I have a son in college, and I say to him, I hope that God will give you, allow you to end up spending your life in something that you have such passion and joy about that you never have a job. It's not a job, it's a privilege and a joy.
What, out of all the surgeries that you perform, and you're so well known again in breast surgery, what is your favorite surgery to perform? Personal favorite?
Today?
Yeah.
Well, today it still involves taking the most challenging breast problem, say a patient that's had 6 or 8 failed operations that started with an augmentation, and in one operation turning that into something that is normal, natural, and aesthetically beautiful. And that can be done using the same things, principles of removing scar tissue, creating a new fresh tissue defect, and then the materials I said, regenerative matrices, safe implants, and fat grafting all together. So that gives me great joy, and I can share with the patient in advance. My experience says, I can help you, I can resolve this. So when I can technically do it in 4 hours, one operation, that's my favorite.
Cool. Now, a few fun questions, if you may.
Sure.
What's your favorite OR music?
Well, I'm from Nashville, Tennessee.
Country?
Home of country. So I love classic country music.
What kind? Who do you listen to?
I listen to Tim McGraw, Kenny Chesney. I listen to some of the older artists. I like Garth Brooks, but then there was Randy Travis before that.
Yeah.
So I have them all.
So do you like kind of the new poppy country stuff?
Yeah, but I also like the classics.
Okay.
And I also play the right music for the tone. There are times to operate fast, and there are times to operate slow. So I can pick the music for each time. The Garth Brooks for fast, the slow Kenny Chesney ballad for slow, when there are times to be precise.
Nashville is known for its hot fried chicken, spicy hot fried chicken. But what's your favorite dish? What do you like to eat the most?
Oh, I grew up, my mom was a fantastic cook, but she cooked mostly just classic Southern food.
Like?
Oh, fried chicken.
Okay.
But,
good.
pork chops,
okay,
mashed potatoes, vegetables. But
chicken fried steak and stuff like that?
Right. But because I grew up with that, I developed a passion for things that were different, like Italian food.
Okay.
So I love wonderful Italian pastas and those things because that's different from what was my traditional nutritional input.
And what's your favorite country in the world to visit? Outside of Israel?
Yeah, I'll have to say I'm so impressed with Tel Aviv.
Really?
What a city. I mean, it's so vibrant, so young but old, or old but young. The history here of the people that basically their drive to survive has created an unbelievable innovation, passion for the country. I love the fact that there's required military service of men as well as women. I mean, I can't think of anything sexier than a young female in a military uniform. I mean, that's fantastic.
We love it too, right? We love it too.
Isn't that fantastic?
It is. I think it changes us.
Yeah.
I think
we're
slightly
wonderful.
crazier though.
Yeah, it's wonderful. So I hope to come back here again because this is my new favorite.
We would love to have you. But I have another question. Doing now, you travel around the world. You have your business. What's your hobby that you love doing the most, which is totally outside of plastic surgery?
I grew up with this, learned from my father, taught my son, and it's golf.
Golf?
Yes.
What's your handicap?
Well, the problem is I developed back problems operating.
Okay.
that were problematic in golf, and I had major spine surgery 3 years ago. So I work hard every day just to enable me to operate one, but to play golf. So my handicap, whereas it used to be quite low in the past, is much
single
higher
digit?
in the past.
Okay.
But now, while mine's not good, my son is a D1 college golfer.
Really?
With a 0 handicap.
Okay.
So my son, a junior golfer, I spent the last 3 years traveling around the country to golf tournaments, taking him as a junior, so he got a college scholarship to play golf.
What kind of blades do you have, by the way?
Titleist.
Titleist?
Yeah.
And what ball do you use? Pro V1?
Pro V1, totally. You're on it.
Yeah. I was a golfer.
Well, my son is 6'4", and his average drive is 320 yards.
Oh, John Daly, minimum.
Well, except he's like a Ralph model, handsome stud. The problem is, he thinks the farther you hit it, the better you can be, and you have to practice your short game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's all about the details.
The hubris of the young.
Yeah.
Hubris of the young. Listen, I think, I didn't expect this, but this was the most, for me, most emotional interview of everything I did.
Oh, wow.
I loved hearing what you said. I love your passion, and I really feel it, and I'm actually tearing up. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's a pleasure and an honor.
You know, how fortunate are we all that there's someone here at this meeting doing what you're doing with the energy, enthusiasm to draw input from others to be shared with our younger colleagues.
That's the idea, to show our residents true passion for plastic surgery.
Yeah. How fortunate they are to have their entire future before them. The best of luck to all of you.